Very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so what is the latest index telling us?
Yes, the latest index for May is telling us that prices are going up by around about 11% compared to 11.7% in the previous month on a year-on-year basis. So yes, it is still growing relatively strong compared to what we've seen, say, in 2008, 9, 10 and 12. But it seems like that the price growth is tapering off and that we can look forward to somewhat slower growth towards the end of the year.
So what's caused this slowing down of the growth, if I can explain it that way?
Yes, 12 months ago, price growth was in the process of accelerating, so one has to take the base from where you calculate into account. So there the base of calculation started to improve, and that is now having an impact 12 months down the line with slower year-on-year price growth. But one has to take into account that month-on-month growth has also started to slow down since mid-2012. So that is also contributing to the slightly slower price growth on a year-on-year basis that we're currently experiencing.
All right, when I was reading about your report, it was talking mostly about sort of middle-income housing that these statistics relate to.
That's correct.
So what's happening in the other tiers? In other words, the very low end and the high end?
Yeah, towards the lower end, we've seen into the first quarter, early stages of this year, that price growth remained relatively strong, around about 6% year on year. So that is relatively good price growth compared to where the economy is coming from. And that growth has been consistent over the past 2 to 3 years. Actually, the segment of the market that continued to outperform the other segments of the property market.
And then the high end is just ignoring the economy.
Yes, the high end of the market, one has to take into account that the economic factors have a different impact on that segment of the market. But we've also seen some relatively low price growth coming through there. One has to take into account that it's a relatively small market segment, and that also plays a role in price growth.
So somebody thinking about buying property, what should they be thinking right now? Is it a time to jump in, or is it a time to hold on to your property before you sell it?
Yeah, I think it is definitely from the perspective of price growth, not a seller's market at this stage. The property buyers have a large selection of properties that they can look at before they buy. So I believe it is a buyer's market to a large extent in terms of relatively low price growth. There's a lot of supply on the market while demand isn't that strong. So these factors also play a role in price growth. And obviously the interest rates are still relatively low, so that is also a supporting factor to the market. And I believe that property buyers should look at properties that fit their financial position. So they must not overextend themselves in terms of buying property at this stage.
Because interest rates will go up at some point.
That's correct.
Okay, so when do you think this trend is going to reverse, where everything is accelerating and maybe becomes a seller's market?
Yes, I believe that one will have to see an improvement in the broader environment, the broader economic conditions will have to improve. Economic growth is relatively low at this stage, and we actually expect growth to pick up a little bit in 2014, but not to the levels that we've seen in the past. And then also consumers' financial position must improve, and consumer confidence. Those are important factors for the property market.
All right, okay, so in theory, a slowdown in the growth, but it's not all bad. It's all improve.
That is correct. Growth is not really moving downwards that sharply at this stage, and we still expect positive growth this year, although maybe in single digits.
Jacques Du Toit, pleasure talking to you as always. Thank you very much indeed for giving us the details of the latest ABSA House Price Index.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for your time. Okay, that was Jacques Du Toit from ABSA Home Loans. He's a property analyst, and not great news for property at the minute.